And you're welcome. News Central now at this hour begins with politics in Nigeria's federal capital, Abuja, where we understand that a fight erupted at the headquarters of Nigeria's main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, PDP, during a Board of Trustees meeting. Tensions fled when party chieftain Sunday Ude Okoye was denied entry. The PDP has been entangled in a leadership dispute between Ude Okoye and Samuel Anyanwu over the position of National Secretary. A December 2024 court ruling declared Ude Okoye the rightful secretary, but Anyanwu appealed. Ude Okoye's supporters stormed the venue, overpowering security personnel. The situation escalated until law enforcement intervened. Key party figures, including Board of Trustees Chairman Adolphus Wabara, were present. Security has been reinforced at the PDP headquarters as tensions persist. Earlier, News Central's Abuja Bureau Chief Amadin Uyi spoke to us on this development.
The culmination of a crisis that has brewed for several months. Just before the Imo State off-cycle governorship election last year, the National Secretary of the People's Democratic Party, Samuel Anyanwu, opted to contest for the polls, of which he contested for the poll and lost. But during that period, the caucus of the Imo State caucus of the PDP had voted that Sunday Ude Okoye, because that slot was given to the Southeast region, they had voted that Sunday Ude Okoye should replace Anyanwu, for which he did. Now, after the election, Anyanwu came back and wanted to reclaim his seat, saying it was an elective position, for which Sunday Ude Okoye refused. It went to the courts, and then sometime in December 2024, the Court of Appeal in Abuja affirmed the faction of Sunday Okoye as the valid Action National Secretary, a decision that Samuel Anyanwu appealed to the Supreme Court. Now, today at the Board of Trustees meeting, Anyanwu had come in earlier, and then when Sunday Ude Okoye came in, his supporters forced Anyanwu out of the hall, for which Anyanwu supporters came back to try to force him back into the hall. So it was like a case of two national secretaries attending a Board of Trustees meeting. At the moment, there's some sort of calm, but because it was a very, very heated argument, it was a fight. Security operatives were drafted here. There was a heavy presence of security when we came, and right now is a bit mild, but we'll just show you some of them who are around. If you point to that angle, you see personnel of the Guards Brigade.
And now to discuss this more, we're joined by political analyst and social commentator Larry Toluhi. Larry, this has been quite an event, but one thing is certain, right? PDP has historically managed their internal crises, whether it's through control mechanisms or just have a tighter grip on crisis from within. But this is different. Why has this situation escalated to this level?
Good evening, Judith. It has, because now the PDP, the Nigerians, new is not the new PDP. But for someone like me, I'm saying we are seeing a PDP where it has lost it has lost grip of its membership. We've seen that the PDP, the PDP once prided itself as a party that belongs to the people, a party that is the people's party. But presently, it is obvious that the PDP is looking like a party that belongs to some certain individuals, and those individuals actually believe that they are above the law or the country belongs to them. We see all kinds of things that is happening, and when you see that what is happening, I think that's what is happening to the PDP. And this is so because the membership of PDP itself, from the membership to the leadership, they all failed. Followership, leadership, they all failed. And I'll say that if you ask members of the PDP, how many of them have paid their annual dues or monthly dues that they are meant to pay, which is a subscription they should be paying, they all don't pay that, nobody's paying. Then one man somewhere probably bring, or one woman somewhere will see them bringing some funds somewhere, and now start claiming that he or she is funding the party, and because he thinks he's funding the party, think he should control everything is happening in the party. And it now still brings us down to the role of our judiciary, because the judiciary is making this thing a little bit messy. You see an appeal court giving a judgment, and you see a lower court of lower jurisdiction, like the lawyers will call it, a high court giving a stay of execution of a judgment of an appeal court. Then you now start looking at it, what is happening. Now the PDP itself needs to now do this internal, internal purging and start telling themselves what are they doing wrong or what are they not doing right.
Larry.
What are they done wrong in the issue that they were doing right, that they are doing wrong now. They need to ask themselves the hard question to now start doing what is right, because as we are seeing it, the PDP is meant to lead opposition in Nigeria.
Right, Larry.
We are seeing PDP cannot even serve.
I was going to ask you, you've already started with my next line of question, which is pretty much about the opposition, right? And as you rightfully put, Nigerians, as the days roll by, we are getting closer, 2 years away from another election cycle. We've seen, last year we saw the internal crisis and leadership crisis with the Labour Party, and now we're seeing this with the PDP. So it begs to ask the question, would there be any strong opposition ahead of the election for 2027, or will this continue to persist? Your take.
It doesn't really look as a political strategy, I'll tell you. For me, I don't think it is. It's not looking viable that there's going to be any strong opposition coming to 2027, because you look at it, they've not even had reason, they've not even had time to actually get their ass together. They've not even been able to their acts together to now analyze why they lost the last election, how to go forward to prefer solution, or to give the people the right alternative. You know, Nigerians are not just going to vote any party because they think the ruling party is not doing well. And I think that is where this opposition party are missing it. They get on thinking, oh, this party is not doing well. People automatically turn to them. No, Nigerians are not zombies. Nigerians are smart, intelligent people. You need to give them a viable alternative. You need to give them workable alternative. You need to tell them reason why these guys are failed and what you want to do for them and how you want to do. Are people going to like queue up behind Labour Party? Nobody's going to queue up behind Labour Party in the next election because they've seen the drama in Labour Party. Are people going to queue up behind PDP? I don't think people are ready to queue up behind PDP because they are seeing a PDP that cannot even get its house in order. We have a national secretary that shouldn't be in office, but he now feels he should be in office. Now you have somebody that they want to be in office, then even the one that needs to be in office, how well is he comporting himself to show that he's actually right, because there are a lot of ways he could have done better with what he's doing today. I mean, the man that got the appeal court, Ude Okoye, would have acted better. Yes, Sam Daddy is not doing well, or like Sam Daddy, like his fondly called, he's not doing well, he's not acting well. But he's Ude Okoye to comporting himself well. So you can't, two wrongs don't make it right. One of them needs to be smart, one of them needs to show leadership. And it now boils down to the whole thing that we are saying, that people are doing what they like. The rules of law is not holding, because it shows that even at the PDP, see, not just the secretary that is the problem. The North Central is been crying that they want to fill their seat back in the office of the national chairman, and the man has refused to let go of that in acting capacity, and have been going up, back and forth, suing everybody because he wants to sit down as the acting national chairman. So you can see the whole problem. Nigeria and Nigerians is actually in a great dilemma, because as it is now, it's looking at going to 2027, people are just going to have to vote for APC, because APC seems to be the only party that seems to be getting it right.
I mean, lastly, my last question for you, hopefully you can, because we're pressed for time, just very quickly, there are claims that the PDP's crisis is not entirely organic. They said that it's fueled by, that's the claims, by external influences. How credible do you think these allegations are? Very quickly, because we're out of time.
Okay, I mean, Yoruba will tell you that if the wall is not cracked, the lizard is not going to enter. Yes, it might be fueled externally, but because the guys in the internal are greedy, especially those guys in the NWC, they are just there. They don't know what to do. They are just there grabbing everything. They're errand boys doing errand boys work, and that is why it is happening. And you have a man that feels that he owns everywhere and is so arrogant and so pompous and is ready to spoil everything for his own selfish gain. So that is why, yeah, it might be a little bit of external force, but internal is actually the main cause. The Yorubas will say, look, if you're not killed, if your enemy, the enemies within are the enemies that actually attack the most. You see, we all know the story of Ellen of Troy. See, until we got the Trojan got to enter Troy, nothing happened. So the things inside, those guys inside, their greed, their selfishness, their ineptitude, their all that. That is why all that is happening to them.
Well, I must say thank you so much for taking out the time to join us, Larry. Larry is a political analyst and social commentator, giving us a bit of insight with the crisis or the fight that broke out during the Board of Trustees meetings at the PDP National Secretariat. Once again, Larry, thank you. Let's switch gears away from that, from politics, and now to state matters. The 5th Lake Chad Basin Governors Forum is ongoing at the moment, with security and climate change among the key issues on the agenda. The local organizing committee, chaired by Baba Malam Wali, finalized preparations for the 3-day summit hosted by Yobe State. The forum aims to develop concrete strategies for lasting peace and sustainable development in the Lake Chad region. Wali reaffirmed the state's commitment to fostering regional cooperation and economic growth. With stringent security measures and comprehensive health services in place, the summit brings together regional leaders and stakeholders to address pressing challenges, including security, humanitarian aid, and economic recovery. This year's theme is Rebuilding the Lake Chad Basin, Commitment to Peace and Development. Earlier, the Vice President of Nigeria, Kashim Shettima, and the Chief of Defense Staff, Christopher Musa, spoke at the forum.
Is not a peace, and neither will we be. This one is land of opportunity. Will bind together the destinies of nations by vigilant in ways that define our shared history over the past decades and a half. The chain of events disrupting the stability of this region reminds us of why we need one another more than ever before. These challenges demand that we wield power responsibly to guarantee the safety and prosperity of our people. I am delighted to join this press collective and objective response.
I want to also appeal and thank you for the support to the Multinational Joint Task Force. It is a success story, but we want to continue to do more, and we can only do more if we get more support. The kinetic and non-kinetic actions must go together, and that is the only way we're going to get results. Mr. Vice President, sir, I want to say a very big thank you, Your Excellencies. I want to also repeat that the armed forces of Nigeria and other security agencies are here all the way to ensure that the Lake Chad region is fully back to its course.
You're watching news now on News Central Television. We're going to a short break. When we return, we'll bring you security matters. Stay here. And welcome back. The Assistant Inspector General of Police in charge of Zone 7, Abuja, says operatives have arrested a suspect linked to the abduction of 20 medical students in Benue in 2024. AIG Benneth Igwe said the suspects and 2 others now at large are members of a gang that specializes in armed robbery and kidnapping in Benue and its environs. In August 2024, the victims, students at the University of Maiduguri and the University of Jos, were ambushed by gunmen around the Otupo area of the state. They were reportedly traveling for the Federation of Catholic Medical and Dental Students Annual Convention in Enugu. The AIG added that the suspect confessed to being a member of the gang responsible for the abduction of the students in 2024. Away from that, President Bola Tinubu has returned to Abuja from Tanzania, where he participated in the Africa Heads of State Energy Summit in Dar es Salaam. The president was received by top government officials, including the Minister of State for Defense, Bello Matawale, the National Security Advisor, Nuhu Ribadu, and the Chief of Staff to the President, Femi Gbajabiamila, among others. The two-day summit was hosted by the government of Tanzania in collaboration with the African Union, the African Development Bank Group, and the World Bank Group. More about this summit, where the Africa Development Bank has pledged $40 billion to help the continent achieve its energy goals, which aims to provide electricity for 300 million residents by the year 2030. The objective, known as the Dar es Salaam Declaration, was agreed by several African states, including Nigeria's President Bola Tinubu, at the recently concluded Africa Energy Summit, which was held in the capital of Tanzania. Amadi Uyu compiled this report. Take a look.
It was a two-day summit hosted by the government of Tanzania in collaboration with the African Union, the African Development Bank, and the World Bank Group. The summit focused on providing access to electricity for 300 million people in Africa by 2030, known as the Dar es Salaam Declaration. Experts in attendance urged African leaders to put in more effort in helping the continent achieve its SDG goals, and at the same time urged the private sector to join this effort.
We have to accelerate our collective efforts to fast-track the solution for SDG 7, but also the Paris Agreement, and propel Africa to become a clean energy powerhouse. This requires urgent action in three key areas beyond this summit. First, creating the right enabling environment to attract scaled private and public investments through stronger, stable, and more coherent policy and regulatory frameworks.
The private sector will also need to play a critical role to expand mini-grids and off-grid systems to reach millions of people without access to grid-based power in rural areas. Our collective effort is to support you, our heads of state and government, to develop and to implement clear actions embedded in country-led national energy compacts, your compacts, to deliver on your visions for electricity in your respective countries.
The African Development Bank and the World Bank, while throwing their weight behind this lofty ambition, pledged their support, expertise, and financing to achieve this goal.
The African Development Bank and the World Bank have developed a very clear path to achieving the 300 million access goal. Together, the African Development Bank and the World Bank will commit $40 billion towards the Mission 300.
Governments must drive reforms. The private sector, all my friends and partners here, you need to invest with confidence and trust. And we in the development banks, we must deliver the financing, we must uphold accountability. This will demand hard work and vision. But remember, all this is within reach if we do this together.
African leaders were also tasked to brace up for the ambitious challenge ahead, which world leaders agree that is possible.
In order to overcome hurdles impending energy access, we need to take bold actions by increasing investment and financing for infrastructure development, from power generation to the last mile connectivity.
The Dar es Salaam Declaration was adopted by leaders of 12 African countries, including Nigeria, Chad, Cote d'Ivoire, the Democratic Republic of Congo, amongst others. The plan aims to utilize the National Energy Compact, which identifies specific policy measures to address constraints across their energy sectors.
Activist Samuel Ashore has pleaded not guilty to cybercrime charges filed against him by the police in Abuja over his reference to Inspector General of Police Kayode Egbetokun as an illegal IGP. Shore denied all 17 counts read to him at the Federal High Court in Abuja, where the police had filed the charges a day earlier. Following his plea, trial judge Abdullah Liman adjourned proceedings until 3 p.m. today, Wednesday, to hear the activist bail application. Earlier in the proceedings, which commenced at about 10 a.m., Shorere's lawyer, Abubakar Marshall of Falana and Falana Chambers, pointed out errors in the indictment, including the misspelling of Shorere's first name as Omoleye instead of Omoyele in all 17 counts.
You know, in 1992, when I was a student leader, Tinubu was a senator, and I was more powerful than him in the Nigerian society. So how dare them ask me? And I can guarantee you that at that time, Egbetokun probably had just joined the police and he was a sergeant, or that is if he had not forged his age.
In the meantime, the court is set to rule on Shorere's bail application by 1 p.m. on the 30th of January. Still on court matters, the Federal High Court sitting in Ado-Ekiti has struck out the criminal defamation case suit brought against human rights lawyer Dele Farotimi by senior advocate of Nigeria, Afe Babalola. The decision followed a notice of continuance filed by the police prosecutor Samson Oshobo. Justice Babs Kuiwumi subsequently struck out the suit. Afe Babalola had earlier pardoned Farotimi on Sunday evening after the intervention of the Oni of Ife and other prominent Yoruba monarchs. The police prosecutor formally filed a notice of discontinuance dated 29th January 2025 to withdraw the defamation suit against the Lagos-based human rights activist. Speaking to journalists after the ruling, Farotimi's lawyer Adeyinka Olumide Fosika San confirmed his client's agreement with the discontinuance notice and noted that they are awaiting further proceedings in other courts. In a surprising turn of events, the Nigeria police have filed a notice of discontinuance in the alleged defamation suit brought by the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, against Lagos-based legal practitioner and author Dele Farotimi. Recall that the Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, had originally filed the suit, but on 29th January, a notice of discontinuance was submitted. The notice, signed by police prosecutor Samson Oshobo, cites Section 108(12)A of the Administration of Criminal Justice Act 2015 and states that the charge will be struck out at the request of the nominal complainant, Afe Babalola. This development follows the intervention of concerned Nigerians. While the parties are present at the Federal High Court in Ado-Ekiti, the judge has yet to formally strike out the charge. A Federal High Court sitting in Lagos has overturned a Mariva injunction that froze the assets of General Hydrocarbons Limited, GHL, and its directors. The court ruled that the injunction obtained by First Bank of Nigeria and FBN Quest Trustees Limited violated an existing order from a court of concurrent jurisdiction. Justice Deinde Dikpeolu found that First Bank had suppressed facts, misleading the court into granting the order. GHL argued that the injunction was obtained through fraudulent misrepresentation. In response, GHL's directors are seeking $1 billion each in damages from First Bank for defamation and wrongful freezing of their accounts. Additionally, GHL is pursuing a case against First Bank's lawyers for alleged unprofessional conduct. You're watching News Now on News Central Television. We go on a short break. When we return, the federal government slams 3-month suspension on Max Air after a crash landing incident. We have the details shortly. Join us again. The Yoruba socio-cultural group, Afenifere, is urging President Bola Tinubu to release the detained leader of the indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu. In a communique issued after its general meeting, Afenifere said Kanu's right to a fair trial is compromised due to conflicting legal proceedings. The meeting, held in Isanya Ogbo and presided over by Deputy Leader Oba Oladipo Olaitan, called his detention unjustified. Afenifere also reiterated its demand for state police, arguing that Nigeria's security challenges require decentralization. Additionally, the group appointed lawyer Dele Farotimi as its national organizing secretary. Afenifere maintains that restructuring is crucial for national security and justice. And off to Kano State, where the Nigeria Civil Aviation Authority has announced the suspension of operations by Max Air following Tuesday night's crash landing involving one of its aircraft. A Max Air B734 aircraft with registration marks 5NMBD traveling from Lagos to Kano had experienced a tire burst on landing at the Malam Aminu Kano International Airport on Tuesday at about 10:51 p.m. local time. This would be the third incident in the space of 3 months involving a Max Air plane. Though the 53 passengers on board were evacuated unhurt, the airport was temporarily shut before the runway was reopened by the Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria (FAN) by 8 a.m. on Wednesday. The Nigerian Safety Investigation Bureau has also initiated investigation into the occurrence. The governor of Plateau State, Caleb Mutfwang, has sacked 5 commissioners and replaced them immediately in a cabinet reshufflement. In a press statement signed by the secretary to the government, the state government, that's Samuel Jatu, the commissioners affected are Crescentos Dawam, who is the Commissioner for Budget and Economic Planning, and Obed Gosil for Science and Technology. Others are Jamila Tukur for Ministry of Tourism, Culture and Hospitality, Noel Komp for Ministry of Youth and Sports Development, and Shaw Musa for Commerce and Industry. News Central's Chizoba Nyowe quotes the SSG as saying that the affected commissioners have been replaced with Joyce Ramnap, Sunday Alex, Silvanus Dongto, Nicholas Bamnong, and Cornelius Doyok, who are yet to be assigned ministries. The statement further extends Governor Caleb Mutfwang's appreciation and best wishes in their future endeavors. A tragic incident has occurred in Lagos as a 2-story building under construction has collapsed in the Aja area. The incident happened at about 2 p.m. on Tuesday, leaving eyewitnesses in shock. While reports indicate that at least 7 people were pulled from the rubble, the exact number of casualties remain unclear. Our correspondent Bernard Akede visited the scene and now brings us this report.
What was once an almost completed 2-story building now lies in ruins. The devastating collapse marks Lagos' first building failure of 2025, raising fresh concerns about construction standards and safety materials in the state. News of the collapse began to circulate on social media late Tuesday evening, though the exact location remained uncertain at first. Upon arrival, News Central's crew confirmed that the incident occurred at the Mega Mound Estate in Lekki County Homes near Aja. Eyewitnesses say an excavator and other heavy machinery had already been deployed by the Lagos State Emergency Management Agency, LASEMA, which carried out rescue operations. Officials confirmed that 7 people were pulled from the debris. 5 survived, while 2 were found dead. However, residents fear that more victims may still be trapped beneath the rubble. Concerns have also been raised over the quality of construction materials used, with some eyewitnesses blaming substandard workmanship for the collapse. Despite efforts to gather more details, our crew was asked to leave the site before we could conduct further interviews. One critical question lingers. If the collapse happened around 2 p.m., why did news of it only surface online about 6 hours later? Could there have been an attempt at damage control? Whatever the case, this incident once again highlights the urgent need for stricter building regulations and enforcement in Lagos to prevent further tragedies. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
Nigeria's Data Protection Commission says it will explore homegrown solutions to enhance data privacy and the protection of citizens. The National Commissioner of the agency made this known at the 2025 Global Privacy Day conference held in the nation's capital, Abuja. Our correspondent Joshua Marai reports.
January the 28th of every year is set aside to raise awareness about the importance of data protection and privacy. This year's edition in Nigeria has been marked by a Global Privacy Day conference where experts have called on the stakeholders to leverage homegrown solutions to promote the awareness and importance of data privacy.
We'll be able to encourage local technologies that can drive awareness, that can drive reporting, working with the Commission, compliance, investigations, and so many other things. How can we develop our own indigenous technologies to drive this ecosystem? We can't keep relying on foreign technologies for what we do here. So our local content must be encouraged.
The National Commission of the nation's Data Protection Commission expressed optimism that the data protection ecosystem has the potential to propel Nigeria's economy to its $1 trillion mark aspiration.
Part of our contributions to Pillar 2 of Mr. President's renewed hope agenda, economic empowerment and job creation. You can imagine what we can achieve by creating 500 jobs in this ecosystem alone. And our promise is that we can actually create 500,000 jobs within the private ecosystem in Nigeria. And the journey has started.
The Commission also launched its International Journal of Data Privacy and Protection and released its 2024 annual report. In Abuja from the Central, I am Joshua Imarai.
And welcome back. The three military-led West African nations, Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso, have officially withdrawn from the Economic Community of West African States, ECOWAS. The regional bloc disclosed this in a statement issued on Wednesday, marking the end of a year-long effort by ECOWAS to persuade the countries to reconsider their departure. In the statement, ECOWAS acknowledged that while the withdrawal of the three nations takes effect immediately, it remains committed to regional solidarity and the well-being of the people. As a result, it has directed member states to continue recognizing national passports and identity cards bearing the ECOWAS logo held by citizens of Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger until further notice.
C'est pour confirmer et réaffirmer notre départ définitif et irréversible de cette association qui est contre le peuple et non pas pour le peuple. On ne trouve pas, on est obligé de quitter car aujourd'hui l'Afrique en général ou bien les trois peuples de l'AES se sont dit oui pour notre souveraineté, notre dignité, notre indépendance en bonne et due forme et non l'indépendance qu'on nous a donnée sur le papier il y a 60 ans de cela.
pouvoir robo iri ga mo sai dawo ina kire no ifo se ir al umma maga borai mu taddi matini gani ase jin wotare koyan danga jin koyan sai no ina sai dawo kire borai mu ta afo donc kuna asi manda imane zam sai ina kudeta mo la bizai inga ino kai ine kudeta inga yadanda ya dinga borfo mai himga fatta tare gane a inga mai yadda.
Earlier, an African affairs analyst, Koep Dabukat, joined us to speak more on this development. Take a look.
Because ECOWAS has maintained all the regional integration benefits that have been accrued over the years. The freedom of movement protocol is still in place. The IELTS, which is the trade liberalization scheme, is still in place. The passport arrangements is still in place. The freedom of movement is still in place. So that will not be obvious within, as I said, the next 6 months, during which ECOWAS has left the door open.
Meanwhile, thousands rallied in Niger and Burkina Faso on Tuesday in support of their country's withdrawal from the community, and that's the ECOWAS Community of West African States, with the exit set to take effect on Wednesday. Along with Mali, the three junta-led nations are severing ties with ECOWAS, deepening regional divisions and casting uncertainty over the bloc's future. The countries formally notified ECOWAS of their decision to withdraw in January 2024, citing concerns over the organization's perceived alignment with France. Since then, they have shifted focus towards strengthening partnerships with Russia, Turkey, and Iran. As part of this realignment, they have established the Alliance of Sahel States, In Niger, protesters gathered in the capital, expressing hostility towards France and regional leaders. They chanted slogans against French President Emmanuel Macron and other leaders with whom Niger has strained relations.
C'est pour dire que toutes les cordes seront tranchées sans état d'âme.
C'est une très belle décision, bonne décision qu'ils ont prise. Cette décision-là, on l'attendait depuis longtemps. Actuellement, nous on dit la CEDEAO à pas, à jamais. On ne peut pas non-retour. Quel que soit, c'est notre corps. Ils vont piétiner pour que nous puissions revenir. Sinon, c'est les cadavres qu'ils vont utiliser pour créer leur body.
Et cette décision reste irréversible parce qu'en aucun cas, nous allons encore regarder dans le rétroviseur parce que ça ne ressemble pas au peuple sahélien, ça ne ressemble pas à un Burkinabé, ni un Malien, ni un Nigérien. Nous nous assurons.
And off to South Sudan, where we understand that a plane carrying oil workers in Unity State crashed on Wednesday, killing 20 people. Unity State's information minister said the aircraft went down at the Unity oil-filled airport as it was en route to the capital, Juba. According to the minister, the spokesperson, the passengers were oil workers from the Greater Pioneer Operating Company, a consortium that includes the China National Petroleum Corporation and state-owned Nile Petroleum Corporation. Among the victims were 2 Chinese nationals and 1 Indian. He also provided no further details on the cause of the crash. Initial media reports had put the death toll at 18, but he later confirmed that 2 survivors had succumbed to their injuries. 1 person survived the crash. A British Nigerian politician, Florence Eshalomi, has been appointed as the United Kingdom's trade envoy to Nigeria. Her appointment makes Eshalomi the 2nd Nigerian to hold the position. Announcing the appointment in a statement on Tuesday, Jonathan Reynolds, the UK's Business and Trade Secretary, said the decision was aimed at attracting investment into the UK and boosting economic growth. Confirming her confirmation on X, Eshalomi wrote, and I quote, "It is an honor to have been appointed as the United Kingdom's trade envoy to Nigeria. I'm looking forward to building on my close ties with Nigeria to promote a strong and flourishing economic relationship between our 2 great nations," end quote. The Swedish police have raised the alarm over an escalation of violence as bombings continue to surge across the country. This follows the arrest of 2 individuals in connection with a series of explosions on Tuesday in Stockholm and Helsingborg. With over 30 incidents recorded since the beginning of the year, authorities have noted a shift in the nature of these attacks. The explosions now appear to be economically motivated, primarily targeting businesses for extortion, marking a departure from the previously dominant pattern of gang-related violence. Police are intensifying efforts to identify the perpetrators, who often exploit young individuals for criminal activities, taking advantage of Sweden's laws regarding juvenile responsibility.
Det är en våldseskalering, men det är också en förändring av problemet. Majoriteten av de sprängningar vi har drabbats av i december och januari, de har snarare ekonomiska incitament, är strategiska gärningar riktade mot företag, ofta i utpressningssyfte. Det här är ett annat typ av problem än det konfliktrelaterade våldet.
The Kenyan shilling remained stable against the US dollar on Wednesday with no change in its value. According to data from the London Stock Exchange Group, the shilling traded at 129.50 cents per dollar as of 10:02 GMT, the same as Tuesday's closing. This stability suggests that the currency is holding its ground against the dollar, at least for now. The lack of movement in the exchange rate may be a welcome respite for investors and traders who have been navigating volatile currency markets in recent times. And that's all we can take at this hour. But before we go, let's take another look at some of the major stories. The People's Democratic Party, PDP's Board of Trustees meeting turns chaotic as fight breaks out. The Federal High Court strikes out criminal defamation suit against Dele Farotimi. And we also told you that 20 people were killed in a disaster at Unity Oil-Filled Airport, Unity State in South Sudan. As always, remember they can watch News Central live on DSTV channel 422, on Star Times channel 274. Find us on Avro TV and stream us live on YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I'm Judith, the TV. Bye for now.